everybody, it's Catherine from In the Pink Designs. My project today is a very tall box. It measures 3 by 5 3/4 by 1. And inside is the Big Bunny, it's called. The Russell Stover Big Bunny Marshmallow in milk chocolate. So this I made because there are a couple of different Easter treats and other kind of treats that are long, like licorice is long. I believe one of the small packs of licorice will fit in here. Also, these were in Target in the Easter section, the Krispy Kreme jelly beans, or anything that's a little bit tall. So that's why I made this box. So I used Playing in the Rain stamp set. It's getting difficult to get things that are in stock and that I haven't done a lot, because next week I'm going to be getting a look at the catalog, and then on April 4th I can get a look at it. So hopefully, if I spend the money on the fast shipping, hopefully I'll have some new things to play with. Okay, so I also used the layering circle dies, and this is ribbon from the Real Red and Burlap ribbon combo pack. This was from the holiday catalog and they carried it over, so I don't know if it'll be in the annual catalog, but it is very pretty and it ties a nice bow. Okay, so this is my host code if you're going to spend anything on my website that's linked below under $150, please put that in. Okay, we need some basic white for stamping. I used a piece of the thick white cardstock that is 8.5 by 8.5. Okay, 2 pieces of the Playing in the Rain Designer Series paper that are 2 3/4 by 5.5. 1 piece for the middle here that is 2 by 5.5. Okay, 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 5.5. 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I cut from the layering circle dies, I cut a scallop circle out of Melon Mambo that is 2.5 about, and a basic white one that is about 2 1/8. Alright, so that's all the things that we need. Okay, let me get my Simply Scored. Alright, and we're gonna start on one of the 8.5-inch sides, and we're going to score at 1/2, 3.5, 4.5, and 7.5. Then we're going to turn it a quarter turned to the other 8.5-inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 6 3/4, and 7 3/4. Okay, now I'm going to fold and burnish all of the score lines. Okay. All right. So how we have this now is the skinniest rectangle is on the left, and there is a 1-inch strip on the bottom and the right, and a 3/4-inch strip at the top. All right. And this is what we're going to be doing. All right, so let's start on the left-hand side, and we're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the first score line, and then wedge up into the skinny rectangle above it. Okay, let me just straighten this. Ooh, that's not good. All right. Okay, then go to the next score line, cut it to the first score line, next score line, cut it to the first score line, and then wedge each side of this square. Okay, then go to the next score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge each side of the square. All right, now we're going to turn it 180 to the other side. And this is going to be our top flap. So this is the piece we're keeping, and these are the 2 tabs. So all the rest of this we're going to get rid of. All right, so go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line. We're going to get rid of this rectangle on the bottom and wedge each side of the square. Okay, then we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, cut it to the second score line, and then take that rectangle off the bottom and wedge each side of the square. Okay, now we don't need these 4 pieces, so I'm going to go and cut them off, and I cut this score line off with it so that it's nice and smooth on the edge. Okay, and then the only other thing we're going to do is on the skinny rectangle here, we're just going to take a little wedge up into that. Okay, now we're going to round the corners of this top flap. I have a 1/2 inch rounder, but you can use whatever one you want or have. All right. Okay, and this is what your cardstock should look like after you're done scoring it, cutting it, and rounding the corners. All right, I'm going to get my tear and tape, and I'm going to put it on what's left of the skinny rectangle next to the score line. I'm going to take my take your pick tool, and I'm going to get the backing off. Roll back any tape that's on the edges. Over the edges, I should say. All right, I'm going to turn the whole thing over, flip over the side with the tape, and flip over this other side to meet it. Okay, now this here is the back right here. Okay, this is the part that the flap goes back to, and this is our seam right here. Okay, so I'm going to put the tabs in, and I'm going to get my liquid glue. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on these tabs. I'm going to pull the back flap, and then I'm going to put glue on the back of the front flap, and just make sure that all of the edges are nicely even. All right, now on the top, will this reach? Yes. Okay, I'm just going to press down on those 2 side tabs to make sure that the glue adhered in there too. All right, and that's the box. All right, now we need our DSP. We're going to do this lined one. And the 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 5 1/2 are going on the front and the back. 3/4 by 5 1/2 on the long sides, and 3/4 by 2 3/4 on the short sides, and liquid glue for all of it. Okay, now the piece of DSP that is 2 by 5 1/2 we're going to put right in the middle of the front of the box. Okay, now I'm going to take a small circle punch, and I'm just going to cut out a finger grip in the back. I'm going to slip in my other big bunny. I got mine at the, I'm not sure if it was at the grocery store or Walmart, but you can look up russellstover.com, and usually there's a spot to tell you where you can get their products. All right, now we're going to do some stamping. I'll let that dry a minute. All right, so we need our basic white, and I'm going to stamp the turtle. Great. And then we need some scrap paper and our basic white circle that is about 2 1/8. And I'm going to take the flowers, and I want to stamp it twice. I want to stamp it with from the middle to the left on this side, and from the middle to the right on this side. All right, so that we don't get only the small flowers at the edges, if we can help it. Okay, because the turtle's going to cover up the middle anyway. All right. Okay, and I have this cut out. All right, so now we need a couple of Stampin' Blends. Now I'm using Light and Dark Melon Mambo. This is retired. I don't know why they retired this color, but I still have them. But you can use, wherever I use Light and Dark Melon Mambo, you could use either Crushed Curry or the Light and Dark Daffodil Delight. All right, so I'm going to use the Melon Mambo. I'm just going to go and do some flowers with the dark and some flowers with the light. I'm sorry if I said Melon Mambo. This is Mango Melody. Sorry about that. I always get confused with the MMs. All the matching letters. All right, and then for the center of the flower and the leaves, I'm going to use Light Old Olive. Okay, and also for the middle of the flower on the turtle, and then I'm using Dark Mango. Right, and I'll use Dark Mango Melody on the flower that's on the turtle is holding. All right, and then I'm going to do the turtle's belly with Light Daffodil Delight. I'm going to add a little Dark Daffodil Delight in on the belly because it's looking a little too light. Just going to come in from the edge. And then I'll just try to blend it out with the Light Daffodil Delight. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to use Light Old Olive for the hands and feet and the spots on the shell. And finally, with Dark Old Olive, I'm going to do the rest of the shell. And that's the coloring. All right, so now I'm going to take the flower circle and I'm just going to glue it onto the Mango Melody. That is 2.5. If you have anything close to these shapes, these sizes, you don't have to have exact. Now I'm going to take my burlap ribbon. That is from the Real Red and Burlap Ribbon Combo Pack. And I'm going to tie it around the bottom. Yeah, that's right. About 1.5 inches from the bottom. Okay, I'm going to have the loose tail over on my left. Okay, and then I'm going to tie it like that. And then I'm going to put a loop in the bottom piece and then wrap the other piece over it. And there's my bow. Yeah, it does a really nice bow. It doesn't take a lot of fussing. So I like this ribbon. All right, and then I'm just going to clip it off. And then I'm going to get a glue dot and I'm going to put it under the bow so it doesn't slide off, under the knot of the bow. And there we go. Our bow is finished now. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals and I'm going to put my turtle onto, I'm going to use a mini dimensional for where the flower is, just so it stays nicely stuck on there. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that my flowers are up and down, and then I'll put my turtle on there. Okay, now we need a little bit more dimensionals. And I'm just going to put him in between the bow and the top of the box. I'm going to make sure that I have them straight up. Okay, now for the final touch, I'm going to use some Milky Dots, which I think are sold out, but you use whatever you have. And I'm going to put a large one right there, and a small one over there, and then another large one right down there. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. All of the directions are on my blog, and the link to my shop where you can purchase Stampin' Up! Products, and both of the links are down below. Okay? Have a great weekend, and please subscribe and hit the like button. And I will see you next week. Bye.